Orion Properties released earnings, and I think the time is now for a quick update on where this company is heading. So we saw earnings being released here. We saw a stock price increase by roughly 6% on the earnings, on the results. It was not strong results, but it was good enough, and good enough made the stock price go higher in this case. So let's follow up on some of the numbers that I've been looking at here for quite some time for Orion Properties. This is the second quarter of 2025. The report, we can see the portfolio highlights. We can see occupancy 77.4%. Comparing occupancy now, we can see that this has dropped to 72.8%. So the numbers are going in the wrong direction, one of the very, very important ones. 63 operating properties now, used to be 66, so some have been sold off, and despite that we can see that occupancy has dropped. Investment grade tenancy here, 68.5% in the last quarter, now down to 67, dropping as well. However, there is some light here at the end of the tunnel. We can see that the weighted average remaining lease term is increasing, so they seem to be stabilizing a bit. That's one indication. Could be enough, was enough to send share price a bit higher, and they continued to talk about this transformation into more of special use type properties. And it remains to be seen if they are able to execute on it. It's still very, very high risk with this property company. Leverage, perfectly fine. This company does not have a lot of leverage. They have assets of 1.2 billion and the debt was roughly 500 million in this case. So quite strong balance sheet. In terms of revenues, the rental income here, almost 37,000 for the quarter. And then we can see that total operating expenses is quite a lot larger. A big part of this, once again, is impairments. So they are writing down fair value on assets, to reflect reality. So this is not cash flow related. However, it creates a loss, and then the company can pay out 2 cents a share in dividend and still keep this REIT status in this case. So as you see, funds from operations is indeed positive, and a very, very small amount of this will be paid out as dividend. They are amortizing quite a bit in this case, as we can see here. Depreciation and amortization, 14 million in this case. So paying down debt. Let's also scroll a bit and let's see net debt in this case, 481 million. Very low debt, 475 total. And if we compare this to total assets, here you can see gross real estate investments, 1.4 billion, not 1.5. It was 1.5 here for the last quarter, so they've been selling off some. And comparing that to the debt that we saw earlier of 475 million, so they've been paying down. That's very, very low leverage. If they could liquidate at this price, then that would be very good for shareholders, given that the total market cap here of this company is 146 million. Comparing that to the assets that they have on the balance sheet, well, then it's trading very, very cheaply. But It's trading cheap for a reason. We're seeing occupancy still going down and a lot of risk in this stock still. It remains to be seen if the transformation is successful and if shareholders are rewarded massively, or if it goes in the other direction with falling occupancies and the results weakening, especially results from operations. If that goes in the wrong direction, well then shareholders in this case will be in trouble. It remains to be seen, but very, very secure balance sheet, very low leverage, operational issues that have not been sorted yet. This risk is of course priced into this stock. Started buying it at I think 2.3 or something like this. Started buying quite cheaply, so up a little bit on this company. However, man, it must be tough to be a long-term shareholder if you have held ONL since its spin-off from O. Well, then you have been losing out quite a bit just in terms of the unrealized loss here. Of course, some dividend has been paid out, but even with dividend, it's quite a substantial loss for shareholders here. A turnaround case, the future will tell. As always, hope you guys make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now. Bye bye.